All right. Live. I just came in from working in the garage and threw up a live thumbnail. Everybody's out doing stuff because it was so nice. We have daylight now. Here they go. Lars was in here first. I finally have a press on site. I've been using buddies of mine's presses for the longest time, and my uncle found a almost very little missing a complete press in the dumpster at Hazard Fraught where he lives. So I'm like, sure. So I've been finding the missing hardware and stuff, and got that thing together. Had to make some little plates and stuff, and I'll now have a press on site. I don't have to go to. I have several buddies with presses. That's why I've never needed to before, but this is nice. And I'll have less than half in it what a press costs. So, who all's in here? Lars was first. Tony's Hot Rod Garage. Tony, by the way, will be live tonight after me. Colleen Tebow, recipient of parts on the doorstep. I still don't know what they were. Mostly old, it looks like head gaskets, the boxes do, but I could be wrong. Most of the old parts in Russ Patrick, Auto Salvage Outlaws, Cope Racing Transmission says you're alive. Yep. Heavens Mopar Scott, my mom's watching. Pure Pontiac Garage, Danny Boy. Missed 71 seconds. You didn't miss anything. I walked in out of the garage I've been running a grinder and a drill all day, and you get that gritty feel from that. And First Responder Garage is here. Jason's Garage. Rob's Rods and Streetcars. Rob's Rods and Streetcars. Man, you're 29 away. Get a little closer to 500 and we'll have 500 live. NSB Custom Cars, Chucky, Twisted Mopar, Dennis Frankenstein 20. Just Mopar Joe says, all right, Mopar people. And I am wearing my OG Just Mopar Joe shirt. Joe had fewer than 1,000 subs when I got this shirt from him. Bad Attitude C10, how's it going? Dust Devil Garage, did you like the thumbnail? I could not resist. Bill McKyska, how's it going? JB says, don't pay attention to First Responder. He's not right. Okay. .38 POS Racing. Yep, you're making good progress. Bad Tree Production says he's in the symbol. Yeah, today I was just thrashing all day trying to improve my shop space. I've had a press that was thrown away for scrap. It's missing a few little pieces. I had to fabricate, but got it all together. Used my bulk grade 8 hardware from Tractor Supply, and it's all great. I'm going to have a little over $100 in it. It's a $250 press. Chucky's Garage says, if you want a real challenge, we can try to go from 265 to 509. Okay, not sure what you mean by that, but that's cool. Joe greeting people, Turbo Tom. Glad all of y'all are here. Yeah, today was a thrash day. I've got all kinds of stuff spread out in my driveway. I remember one time when I did that, I wanted to just take a whole bunch of stuff out and organize and clean the floor real good, move everything back. I had somebody come up the driveway and say, are you having a yard sale? They were super excited because most yard sales are just, a bunch of kids' clothes and stuff that should have gone in the green box. And I had cool stuff and parts everywhere, but I'm like, nah, man, sorry to disappoint you. You're not getting a set of cylinder heads for $5 or anything. Just cleaning. Chucky says you always have a live for a guy who's close to 500. Yeah. But I like to get close enough striking distance to get it. And the thing about Fridays is we have a pretty regular crew here, and I just like to plan it, try to do something midweek. Um, I don't like to interfere in anybody's established time slots, usually late in the evening, midweek. But Rob's driving streetcars. He's close. I think just a little closer. A 500 live would be perfect. Because I like for people to get it and get it that evening. And depending on the channel and how long they've been around. And it also seems like the rate of growth on their channel depends on when I think it's right to strike with that. Our record is 75 subs on a live. Seems like the low end, we can always do at least 20. And because Rob has live streams, he's been around a while. It's going to take a lot more of the outside of the community, the sharing text, Facebook, that kind of stuff, which you guys are wonderful about doing. I think he gets maybe 10 more, and we'll be in perfect position. Buff, I knew I saw you in here, and 6% recycled. Good to see you guys. Punisher Lamons. Good crew. Phillips Run Drip and Bubble Company. You got your torque converter yet? How's that Duster coming? I'm really hoping to see it in Sikeston. Still thinking about making it there, Stephen Phillips? Bad Tree Blake, glad you're here. Colleen, I really hope that I'm helped inspire people greeting everyone when they come into a live like this. Look at Colleen's comment. I just think that's so cool. That's what a real community does right there. You look at some of these mega channels that have the lives where they're just, the chat is just not part of it at all. And the comments are flying. It's just a free for all of, just unintelligible derp comments flying by. Not here. This is completely different. This isn't a real community. Colleen is greeting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 27. I think that's a record, greeting 27 people in one comment. That is impressive. LNA Auto Works, New Guys Guitar, Buck is here. Cool, guys. Thanks for stopping by. May's kind of gotten jumbled around a little bit, so I was hoping to go live with Andy and DV. It was all set up. Andy had an obligation that couldn't work around. I'm trying to do that in 2 weeks. So I hope to be live from North Carolina with those guys in 2 weeks. So if we can get a confirmation, I'll let you guys know as soon as I do. Mohawk 62, you've been making a lot of progress, my man. Iceman 2K10, Buffalo Brian, good to see you in here, sir. JB says, I'm usually on it, busy at the moment. Understand. That's understandable. Joe says every day is good in Mopar Lane. I would agree with that. But I needed to work on garage infrastructure today. The weather's nice and I'm kind of in the mode for it. So I have been moving all kinds of stuff, cleaning all kinds of stuff, putting away tools. It's been valuable. Jabo made it. Good to see you, man. Brian English, it's great to be back. Always good to see you in here. Drag Pack Merc. There's a guy we need to see at No Name Nationals. Joseph Jabo's here. His calves are still walking in. Well, how is everyone? We have a couple additions this week. The No Name 500, Phil Landry. Cool stuff. He's got a Looks like a Model A Ford with a flathead in it. Does land speed stuff with it. That's freaking cool. Um, I also had another guy, Technician Troy, join today, the No Name 500. He's with the Daddy's Money Garage gang, and he's got neat stuff going on. It's neat because a lot of these guys, even though they're very new in their channels, they're established tuners and mechanics, been doing good stuff for years. They're just relatively new to YouTube, but they bring a lot to the community. So Unfinished Project is here, 19 Saturdays till No Name National. I will take his word for it. I don't count it by Saturdays, I count it by days. 131 days, 3 hours, 50 minutes. Colleen subbed to Troy an hour ago. Yeah, he's on my page. I'm hoping to see good stuff from him. He's bringing I believe, an S10 to No Name Nationals. Hope that works out good for him. We have so much diversity at the No Name Nationals. It's awesome. Barrows hit the junkyard for more Mopar parts. Found a 58 Studebaker presidential wagon. Thinking of getting to make a door awning out of for the shop. Okay. Pure Pontiac Garage is going by too fast, long way to go and a short time to get there. There's plenty of time now if you make all these days count. Absolutely. There is plenty of time right now to start a channel and grow it from 0 to 500 right now. But you have to work on it every day. All of the guys who are struggling to get subs, I gave them an idea. I've given several of them this idea. Shoot 7 1-minute shorts at one time and drop them every morning at the same time every morning. 1-minute shorts. You could do it like Dakota found this big haul of stuff at I think it was just a flea market, all kinds of car parts. I said, do a 1-minute video on each of those things, a 1-minute short, and put it up there. You'd be shocked. He'd have 500 by now. Drag Pack Merc says Phil Landry's channel is neat. Has a Fox Mustang with a supercharged flathead. Yes, exactly. 38 POS Racing says, see a cooking video. I'm telling you what, I had an idea last year. Didn't know how to quite implement it this year. And all things considered, I'm glad I didn't. I may do it next year, but part of that idea was a cooking video challenge for the No Name 500 guys. Just Mopar Joe says, any new awards this year by the house or otherwise? Yeah, there are. If you guys haven't seen it, you do need to see this. This is an award, obviously. We had this award last year. But here is, for those who haven't seen it, this is the trophy topper for the winner of the burnout competition of the second annual No Name Nationals. William did this. He did this in epoxy, and that is tire rubber off of his Charger. So I think that is really freaking cool. That's going to be an award coming back. We have had some thoughts on new awards, but we're making sure to cover the bases with the ones we know we're doing again, like burnout competition, like the bracket, worst oil down, all of those. But yeah, we may well have some new awards. We're thinking about them. I got certain deadlines on what we call deliverables. That will be the trophies, things like that. So we're working down that list. The Bounty Hunter Award, as Cope says, well, sure, yeah. I'm going to be anxious to see how that works. I'll be anxious. It's brought a lot of excitement to the bracket, that's for sure. Yeah, Brian, no kidding. That is really cool. He made 3. One for himself, one for the trophy topper, and another for me. And I'll put it up there with that helmet. That's the helmet he wore in the burnout competition. So I'll put it up there with that. Twisted Mopar says 131 days. Yeah, well, that day that you see on the orange paper, that is what is burning away. So when that went up at midnight, that's 132, and it's burned off since then. So now we're 8 o'clock, it's just 131 and change. But that is correct. However, technically, that's till midnight. The gates will open, probably at noon. So you probably have another 12 hours. But I don't want to tell people that because a lot of us like to use every single hour. So just think of that as a reserve bonus. LNA says no problem, plenty of time. LNA, though, has been showing how it works. He has been doing videos daily. He did a pretty neat video of a truck bed, testing a truck bed with a hammer to see what a hammer would do, how well it dents and holds up, like the forwards dropping the toolbox to the edge. You can go check it out over there. But he is gradually gaining. He will get his 500 with days to spare. He gonna make it. 38 POS Racing says 60% of the way there. Yep, right. But understand that the second half comes quicker than the first. I was looking a couple days ago. I think it was June 13th or 14th. I'm not sure exactly because I got about 17 subs over the course of one day at least. And I know that at 10:30 at night on June 13th, 2020, I had 497. So somewhere right around that midnight mark of June 14th, 2020, I got my 500 subs. But it wasn't a thing then. I mean, all 500 subs was in 2020 was the sub after 499. It was absolutely meaningless. And now 500 is a big deal. Twisted Mopar Garage says, how's the call-outs working out? I don't know. We don't know how the call-outs work out till we get there because it depends on everybody showing up and running them. But it's exciting. Fiero guys fighting with Missouri trying to tag my car. Make sure you get your 500. There's a lot of workarounds for the tags. Well, Mexican Spec's got a personal goal there. I guess that's cool, man. 500 is a milestone. Dust Devil says you get your community tab at 500, don't you? It used to be 1,000, then it was 500. Now I think you get them from the get go. Unfinished projects is I got a couple cans of Rust-Oleum. I can tag it real good. Yeah, exactly. Shopcase has things. I think everybody gets a community tab to start with now. Most of the old parts and rust, I can't guarantee that. I know you've been calling dibs, but I don't know that we can do that because we really need to find a fairer way to do the bracket. We really do. We did a chip draw on the 28-10-5, and that was just necessary. I mean, there was $1,600 just in payouts. And now they're starting to put money into the bracket. Yeah, Dust Devil didn't think he had his till 500. That's right. I didn't have mine till 1,000, but that's because they've changed it over the years. They've dropped it down. Bring the camera to the DMV. Yeah, go for it. That would be awesome. Joe says everyone wants to race me for that Cope and Slant daily money. I know. Well, everybody wants to race Joe. Everybody and their brother. My suggestion to Joe, truthfully, is just chill on any call out stuff because there's nobody who doesn't want to race Joe. Call out or bracket. Unfinished project got his community tab at 1,000. Right after that, they changed. Yeah, they did. In the last couple of years, they've lowered it. I think you get a community tab right from the get go. Brian said you used to have 1,000 subscribers in the past to qualify. No, you used to have 1,000 subscribers to get a community tab. To qualify to participate as a racer or burnout competitor in the No Name Nationals has always been 500. It was 500 last year. It's 500 this year. I'm not inclined to want to raise it, but you never know. It depends kind of what the community does with that. Fiero guy said you had to have 500 last year. Yeah, they've made some steps in it. At one time it was 1,000, and then another time it was 500, and now I think it's just from day one. One thing I'm really not liking that YouTube has done recently is the handles. I can't stand it because you already had that. But the thing about the handles that was nice is it was the channel name. Well, now the handle's just something else. The handle's just something that's just not even germane. You can't even always necessarily recognize the channel from the handle. It's really difficult. I don't like the handle stuff at all. I guess the thinking is if you have a channel name, but then the person who has the channel makes the handle their name, when you see replies, it'll put the person's, but again, it's still linked to the channel, so it's not like you could have several people with one channel commenting. I think that they tried to solve a problem that wasn't there. I think they tried to find a solution in search of a problem. Sean Pilot is building his channel fast, 85,000 on 3 videos in a month. Yeah, I've seen a lot of channels do stuff like that. Just depends on what their content is, what their game plan, their audience, everything has to come together. Allo Salvage Outlaw says, my handle name is my channel name. Yeah, mine is too. Not everybody's is. Unfinished Projects is Dart Sport. I think his actual handle has Dart Sport in it, which is fantastic. Valiant Duster. Well, a Dart Sport is if you had a Dart Duster, that would be a Dart Sport because it's a Duster body, has the Duster rear wheel wells and everything. It has a 73, 4, 5, or 6 Dart front clip, but it doesn't have Dodge wheel openings in the back. That was, as much as I can think of, that's the only Dodge that borrowed Plymouth's wheel openings was the Demon and Dart Sport. They used Plymouth Duster rear wheel openings and Dodge front because these Dodge front clip. So now that I've told you that and you notice it, it'll look weird. You'll actually see that the front half of the car truly is Dodge. The back half of the car truly is Plymouth. It's only weird once you notice it. 38 POS Racing says my handle makes sense, but it's not the channel name. Yeah, but a lot of them don't, and a lot of people don't recognize the channel from the handle. Andrew Nelson, what's happening, man? Mexican Spec says in 76, the Mexican Duster was a Plymouth front and Dart Sport rear end. It was called the Valiant Duster. Yeah, that would technically just be a Duster. Taillight panel's different. Yeah, I know. It is. Tell me about it. Man, I searched and searched for taillight bezels. Something terrible. Mexican Spec, I did find some taillight bezels. Great condition for fantastic low price. It was just a complete lucked into that, the Indy swap last year. Only thing I got that, and I got a Roadrunner horn that I needed. It was great. It was just total luck. In 74, the Valiant Duster was Dodge in the front and Plymouth in the rear. In 76, they switched it. I have no idea. There's some interesting stuff that came out of Mexico. I think the station wagon bodied A body came out of the Mexican market. They had some different neat stuff. Kind of like Australia, where you see the different things we didn't have here. The Rabbit Transit J just sneak in here? Cool. Unfinished Project said, I think it was just a hood and grill. If you're talking about the Dart Sport, no, the front fenders were Dart. They didn't have the Plymouth fenders in the front. Andrew Nelson says physical therapy started today. Long road ahead, but very optimistic. I have no doubt that you will be the model for how people should work through injuries like those and come back from them. No doubt. Punisher Lamont says, I about have all my parts to take on Patrick and just Mopar Joe. You got your work cut out for you, man. Barrows is asking a great question that I don't know necessarily the answer. What makes a gold Duster gold? Is it just a trim package? I think so. But I don't know exactly. Twisted Mopar Dennis says yes. Fierro guy says, I'm about ready to take on Punisher. Most the old parts and Russ says, Ray, you're going to need more parts. I'll tell you what, I like Patrick's attitude. He's just great. You just never take those guys for granted. He's an uplifting guy, when he just always makes it fun and optimistic, and we're looking forward to it. Don't he's just one of those kind of people. It's great. We need people like that. One-eyed Cat's having fun doing the front end on the Valiant. Yeah, I bet. So Unfinished Project says my cousin had a beautiful metallic green gold duster. Yeah. Love that metallic green. Punisher Lamont says JMJ, you will find out. I'm telling you. Never want to underestimate Joe or Punisher Lamont or Patrick. No steel parts and Russ says life's too short to be serious. Life's too short to take yourself so seriously that it stifles and takes all the fun away from everything. That's why I was doing this press today. I actually took the time, got the right size hardware, grade 8 lock washers, put it together right once. I took that serious, but you know what? I did it one time. It's not going to fail. It's level, it's square, the right hardware, and then I can just relax. I don't have to worry about it. When it comes to doing things right and doing things safely, I love taking them seriously so that I can do them once and then have that peace of mind. Punisher Lamont says, I can't wait to hang out and make passes again. Yes, exactly. Unfinished Projects says, if I had to bet money, it would be on JMJ. Well, everybody else bet money on it. So why not? I think Joe is going to cause an economic effect on the local economy over there. You'll see money changing hands when he gets to the top end. Auto Salvage Outlaws can't wait to run his down the track and see what runs in the 8th. Yeah, find out. Twisted Mopar Dennis is about a third of the way. And man, if you just hammer it, make that content, do goofy stuff with Brian and all that kind of stuff, you'll get it. I'm telling you. Do not give up. We have several people from last year that can show you all about the value of perseverance, including Dizzy Izzy, right there. Perfect example. Dizzy never gave up, and Dizzy made it. If you can't make it, you look at Dizzy and say, Dizzy did it. Can I do it? Just ask yourself. Dizzy did it. He never gave up. LNA says, if I don't run a 10, just throw my cruise control on. Well, you know, a 10 is slightly faster than walking in the 8th. So. Andrew Nelson, there's a lot of people who care about you. This is a very truly caring community. And this is not like, you know, some cesspool of Facebook. This is a real community. To me, that's a very important component of all meeting up together in Sikeston, is we meet each other in person. It takes that whole element of being someone you're not on the internet out of it. See, no one here in this chat is fake, because you show up in Sikeston, it's really you. It's really your car. You really run what you run. You really are who you are, and you say you are. And, you know, it takes all of that out of it. Shopcat says Dizzy should be on the NNN 23 poster. Cool. I'm really wanting to shoot another group photo. And I have, you know, I kind of I thought it would be great to do it on Thursday and leave from the track to go to Lambert's. Thing is, I know there will be people who can't make it till Friday, but if you can't make it to Friday, where do you draw the line? Because there aren't many people who are going to make a long drive on Friday morning, and we got to get the track hot. So what do you guys think? Would it be better to do the track photo Thursday at 5 o'clock and then leave, or 5 or 5:30, and then leave from there at 6 for Lambert's, the car show? Would it be better to do that on Thursday? Or would it be better to do it Friday morning? And then immediately get off the track, sweep it off, go hot. Tell me. What do you guys think? Man, I don't want to leave anybody out, but at the same time, what's the best balance? Mexican Spec says, how about taking the picture on Sunday when everyone's there? Because nobody will be there Sunday. The event is over on Saturday. And plus, too, at that point, people are breaking stuff. It's on the trailer. You're trying to get through all your time runs, awards. It's very hard to do it then. Really, the only way to do it is to do it at the very beginning, when everything's there, everything's running, no one's pressed for time. That's the time to do it. But I'm trying to figure out, should we do it Thursday right before dinner, or should we do it first thing in the morning on Friday? I can't quite figure out what the smart thing to do is, but I do want to do it. That's the main thing. I kind of agree with you, Patrick, but I just, try not to leave anybody out. Cope says the sunlight will be better in the morning. It depends on the way the track faces. I think the light was actually really good in the last photo. I need to look at the way the track is lined up. Yeah, Mexican Specs has set a deadline. Exactly. Well, once we figure out when we're doing it, that's when we're doing it. I learned a long time ago. So teaching firearms, I've done that a long time. What I did in the early days is I would try to say to people, when do you want me to organize a training class for your group? It took me a couple of years to realize that was a terrible idea. It never works. What happens is when people have an unlimited number of options, or it's flexible, they never make a decision. People today, where everything is on demand, everything is on their schedule, everything, they've gotten used to that. they're working from home, Netflix, everything is on their schedule. The problem is it also makes people not set goals like they used to. And that became a problem. And so what I started doing was I would say, how about, and I just pick a month and a day, I don't know, whatever, like August 10th or August 17th. It'd be 9 a.m. One of those 2 days, you tell me which works for you. And you know what? About 85, 90% of the time or more, they would pick the day because one of those worked and go for it. And you know what? If without me doing that, giving them options I can live with and then letting them decide, it never would have happened. So I bring that is into this and say that's the only way. Because if you were to ask people, hey, let's just leave it up to everybody when we want to do the photo, it would never happen. We'd never get a photo, guaranteed. Brian says Thursday would be best, but Friday would ensure the most people. I don't know. Maybe if you knew you knew, but you can't know. You see what happens. Cool. So the Nelsons hope to do a Mother's Day live. Neat. Neat. Yeah, Dust Devil says, well, I'm just trying to figure out what makes the most sense. Because remember, there were people in the pits who didn't come up for the group photo. I'm like, man, come on, people. Buff's Garage, he had I believe it was Chris, 323 Fabrication, threw a line on Buff's car and towed him up there to get in that group photo. Mexican Specs is when it's Mother's Day for you guys. I believe it's this weekend. Yeah, it was. There's going to be. There are things we learned from administering a group photo that we're going to change up and we're going to do this year. I am definitely going to have a gatekeeper at the other end. I'm definitely going to. I got a few people who are going to be in certain places in the photo. We're going to have to get people in there in an order, but I'm going to tell people so that everybody knows, and hopefully it'll help us run it smoothly. Mexican Spec says in Mexico, Mother's Day is always May 10th, no matter what day it falls on. Cool. More people will probably remember it that way. Patrick, don't worry. That will not happen this year. Don't worry. I'm way ahead of you. I had that problem solved the day it happened. Just have to wait a year to show you how. but Patrick, though, did get the nose out there, so kudos to him. But no, we're going to fix that. There were 3 people who got screwed on the group photo, and that will not happen to them this year. Don't worry. Yeah, Joe, when are you going to be coming in? You going with us to Lambert's? You all to the back? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, most of the old parts. It's one of those things that you don't look. You ever go places in public and you see signs, right? And you'll see these signs that are like, why is there a sign that tells us this? It just seems like the most common sense thing. And then you realize there really are people that you have to put these signs that are just unbelievably common sense, and you have to put the signs up. So once we learn that there's a need to make a rule for a specific purpose to solve a problem, I'm not this authoritarian by nature, like to make a bunch of rules, guys. But when one needs to be made, then we make it. I agree with you, Patrick. It wasn't cool. It wasn't cool at all. I didn't have anything to do with that. But here's the thing: once you see it, what do you do about it? There's nothing you can do about it. So we're gonna fix that. Don't worry. Like I said, I had that problem fixed. You know, I had that problem fixed on September 30th. I just have to wait a year to implement it. So it shows us it'll be there Thursday for the rolls again. Yeah. It's funny. I talk to Joe, or at least message Joe about every day. And I think in Sykeston, I don't think that we got to speak like 30 seconds the whole week because just so freaking busy. He was busy conquering out there. Auto Salvage Outlaws saying Fords to the front, T-Bird's coming to take over. All right, man, let's see it. Cope. Cope is so much fun. Most of the old parts and Rust wants to know if the Barracuda will drive to Lambert's. There's a lot of stuff that might be on there. Listen, I'm not the one checking the legitimacy of things driving. Jeremy Finley, how you doing, buddy? I'm working on some stuff this year. Hopefully, I can pull the trigger on getting Mr. Finley to do some more roofing for me. So you guys remember seeing my house on the thumbnail that time with that nice new architectural shingle roof? That was Jeremy Finley. Roofers are a special breed, man. You got to have like that mountain goat sense of balance to do that stuff. But see, Dakota swung by. Cool, man. Mostly old parts. They'll bring an Indiana plate. Destroyer 1320. How's it going, man? Junkyard D, events over Sunday. Yes, yes. There's a lot of people who left on Sunday, stayed over Saturday. Oh, yeah, that's fine. In fact, Sunday is a work day for me. I worked all day on Sunday. Glad you swung by. Glad you're in here, Jeremy. And Jeremy, I really want to go with you. Let me know when works for you. I'd like to meet you and go do some filming at the old Lake Shawnee and then bring that video to these guys here in the chat. That would be super cool. But I need you to be my tour guide for that. Because I haven't been there in 30 some years. Bear says roofer. I'm not a roofer either. I actually kind of like the shingling and felting and sheeting work. I just don't like being on, a 9-10 roof or something. Andrew Nelson says roofers are tough squared. You better believe it. Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans in the house. So Jeremy Finley's in here, by the way. And if that name sounds familiar for some of you guys, Jeremy's father, also named Jeremy Finley, was a mud racer. And he campaigned the S Kicker. It was a Jeep. And he was a fast mud racer. So if you'd watch the professional mud racing, NMRO on TNT back in the day, that's where you've heard that name. Out of Bluefield, West Virginia. All right, Jeremy, let's do it because that's going to be really cool. I'd love to do some filming down there with the old track and stuff and bring it to these guys. Some neat stuff. Copperhead Customs, by the way, is in Australia. I ran a roofing company for 10 years, but down here we use concrete tiles. That's a different world, man. I'd love to go there. I just probably will never be in the cards for me. Yeah, Patrick, most of the old parts and Russ is part of my house is a 37.5 degree roof. The other is 45. I don't like either one of them. Nope. I'll get on like a 312 double ride roof or something like that. But man, I got one house that's 3 stories in the back, and then it's got a moderately steep hip roof on it. No. Nope. And the thing is, I'm not afraid of heights. I don't mind the height at all. I mean, I've been parasailing and up in towers and everything else. The height is okay. It's just that whole thing of thinking if my feet go to sliding, I will die. And so you just have to have the get comfortable in the harnesses and all of that stuff. Buff's Garage says everything in Australia wants to kill you. That is correct. And you're not even allowed to have a gun to kill it first. To me, that's criminal. Mohawk 62 did roughing for one summer in Atlanta. Well, yeah, a summer in Atlanta. That would be about the worst. I'm sure it was wicked hot on those roofs. A black metal roof in Atlanta in the summer. I bet that was nasty hot. Whoa! Heavens Mopar Scott says, almost had a stray framing nail get me last year helping my friend roofing. Nail skimmed across my forehead from 6 feet away. Felt like I got hit in the head with a rock. I don't know how much juice that thing's got on it to go through a skull or whatnot, but you definitely could have lost an eye for sure. Wow. Ooh, that's terrifying. Dakota said, if I see a 5-foot tall spider coming towards me, you bet I'm going to shoot, whether it's legal or not. Well, of course. You shouldn't shoot unless you're not afraid of going to jail for shooting, because that means it was a legitimate reason to shoot. Part of one way of thinking about it. If you're thinking more about the consequences of what will happen if you don't shoot it than if you do, you're probably okay to shoot it. 38 POS Racing says all the warnings I see cause something in California. That's right. I think everything causes cancer in California. Absolutely everything. I don't think they realize when you have labels that say everything causes cancer, what is that going to do? It's going to make people start completely ignoring them because they're on everything. What do you do? California is a fountain of bad ideas that go east. Dakota says California is cancer. Yeah, I could make a case for that. It's a beautiful state with terrible leadership. Barrows needs to find another FE Ford to trade land and to con him into painting my shop roof white. It gets toasty in the summertime. It makes sense. Paint both the roof and the ceiling white. I need to paint mine. I had that shop fire, and I never have cosmetically done anything about it. So I need to take care of that. And Andrew Nelson says California is a cancer. It's not about cars. California does have one thing, and I'm not sure exactly, but I thought they had a 25-year rolling exemption on vehicle inspection out there. And I think that's the greatest thing. I wish they had that in this state because everything I have qualifies. There's nothing made in the last 25 years I want to own. So Nathan's Mopar Garage and Mopar Al are here. How's it going, Al? Been enjoying watching the progress on the Studebaker? Dust Devil said supposedly cast aluminum causes cancer because we have to put those stickers on everything we ship out at work. The Dust Devil's a machinist, so. Dakota says no inspections here. Yeah, well, Georgia's different. Iceman 2K10 says you have smog check in your state here. Some counties do. I think up in Northern Virginia, they have them there. We do not have smog here, but we do have state inspection. And I hate it. I really do hate it. I have a station that is very fair to me, but it's still, man, that state inspection is terrible. We had a governor try to get rid of it here a few years back, and of course, anything they do is all about buying votes. Okay, it has nothing to do with what is right or anything. Wanted to buy the votes of people, but they couldn't. They were arguing, the people in power and the parties were all arguing about the money because the repair lobby gets $20 a pop on those stickers. So they wanted to keep it, of course, and the state police were lobbying for it, which was funny because, the governor pretty much tells the state police what to say, but the troopers have their own lobby that says what they want to say. So anyway, basically, politics did its thing. It killed it, and odds are I'll have state inspection here for a long time to come. But I wish we'd get rid of it. I really do. Dakota said if they started putting inspections here, it would take out half the vehicles on the road around here. Oh, I agree. I see all kinds of stuff. The biggest thing you see the worst of is when you go to states like Georgia and Tennessee, you see a lot more broken windshields. You just see a lot more of that. But other than that, yeah, kind of like the way police unions are opposing legalizing weed. You've always got groups, pushing one angle or another on everything. Don't drive there with a cracked window. I got to tell you, Deke is really not wanting to see broken windshields this year, especially obstructing the driver. I'd be thinking about that. Bear Rose says the shop was made to back a semi into. The only thing I don't like about having doors that high and roof that high is just the heating in the winter. Just eat you alive. I have propane heat in my shop, and it's hideously expensive. What I really need to do, it's 720 square feet. What I really need to do is just put a heat pump on it. Be pretty simple to do, but that's no time soon. Yeah, I don't know if there was specific cars that made Deke say that, but you may want to think about that because that's a touchy subject. You don't want anything broken in the driver's view for sure. Yeah, Mopar Al is glad we don't have inspections anymore. So Mopar Al, did Tennessee have state inspection in the past? If so, when did they get rid of it? I do think that's interesting because I can't ever remember them having it. But you got a few years on me and you've lived there. Danny Boyd says in-ground radiant heat. Well, that's cool, but it does have a really nice flat slab. Mexican spec said in California you have to smog anything 76 and newer. Okay, cool. Yeah, my van is kind of like in Virginia, you're not allowed to have dual exhaust on something that did not have dual exhaust from the factory. I hate that. Why in the world not? That makes no sense. I'm going to have dual exhaust on it, but I'll probably have to do a cap or something creative and stupid. I don't know. I figure what I can do is I can have a balance tube, and then I can just have a like a cutout flange on two sides. I can put one side on and take that one side off and put a plate on it. It'll still breathe, but I can put it on. That's kind of the way I figure it's going to be my workaround. Because what I want to do is have side pipes on the van. And that's what it needs, right? Certain counties in Tennessee had inspections. Okay, yeah. Good thing to know, Andrew Nelson. Because I'm wanting to build a new shop. I just don't know where I'm going to do it and when. I got to figure out the best way to heat it. Well, Danny Boyd, we got 5 counties that ruin the whole rest of the state. And without those 5, which I would be more than happy to just give them to Maryland, we would have a much better state. Yeah, all my friends in Nashville would use his address to get out of the. Yeah. Okay. I think my uncle mentioned something about that. He's lived in Tennessee since 1984. I think he mentioned that. Cave Dave says, where I live in Tennessee, I don't think you have to have tags. Cool. Dakota says, I'm too poor for exhaust. No. Broke is a condition of economics. Poor is a condition of character. You are not of poor character. You might be broke, but you're not poor. Yeah, I probably. If there's one thing that you're not going to get by a state inspector showing up with open headers, it's probably going to be noticeable. Man, that van fits the inspection bay. Literally, I bet I don't have 2 to 3 inches on each mirror getting in that bay. It's that tight. I have to line up on the driver's side as close as I can get it, and the real fun's backing out. But I haven't tagged them yet. It's really, really close. Andrew Nelson says Philadelphia and Pittsburgh rule in Pennsylvania. Oh, yeah, I agree. Philadelphia is a cesspool. Mexican Spec says Nevada is cracking down on people using antique tags to avoid smog. Yeah, right. I hate all that. Make you prove how many miles you drove every year and for what? I just hate that. I can't stand that. Just have a rolling exemption on the smog and let it go. These people are really disconnected for what happens with cars. I mean, you can have a late model car that's not in tune, never had the plugs changed in it, uh, making all kinds of emissions, and you can have an older car, freshly built engine, tuned well, emissions are much better. But they're real disconnected like that. And plus, trying to hammer on each individual car owner for emissions is kind of silly. I mean, the real concerns with emissions, are all these the big diesel engines and big plants and all of that. But those people are, they make massive contributions to these people's uh, campaigns. So of course, we're not going to go after them. We're going to go after all these other people. Going to make a difference by beating on people like Brian English instead of making some giant factory clean up their act. But that's how it works. Auto Salvage Outlaws is running just to pipe back the muffler and turn them out for the back wheels. Yeah, I like that. The only gray area you get into is exiting. You have to be in Virginia. You have to be behind the passenger compartment. And I would argue that is because you're on the C pillar, but just depends how uptight a cop you get wanting to cause you problems. Yeah, Dakota says there's a lot of high performance parts they won't ship to California, like performance cams and all that. Yeah, you can't get the full capacity magazine shipped to California. California is just a state I would never want to live. Never. The smog law is 75 and back, but it's not a rolling deal. I was thinking there was some kind of rolling exemption, but that might have been old. I'm just not sure. Arkansas changed the requirement for an antique tag to 25 to 40. Yuck. But they grandfathered the existing. Ooh, I don't care. I don't care for that at all. Why can't a person have a classic 1998 model vehicle? I don't like that at all. Yeah. Mexican Spec says they must have had a reason. No, they don't have to have a reason. It would surprise you. Some people are just so authoritarian, and they just love to flex their authority on other people. Should be none of the government's business. We're so far away from that, it's not even funny. And so Dakota brings up a good point. He's got glass packs, and it sounds mean. Everybody in town hears him coming. What gets me is when a car is supposedly too loud. Okay, your car can get stopped by a trooper for being too loud. Meanwhile, a motorcycle that is shredding your eardrums can go by, and it's just fine. I've never understood that. Motorcycles can be obscenely loud, and no one cares. Nathan's Mopar Garage is weird seeing antique plates on 90s cars. 1 week from today is the 29th anniversary of when I graduated high school. So technically, a new car then would be an antique now. Virginia's 25 years rolling. But they have all these restrictions on them and all this stuff. Bad Tree Productions says, wait, people get pulled over for loud exhaust? Yeah, I have. You know what it was on? I've been pulled over for loud exhaust twice, and it was on an 89 Hyundai Excel. How you like that? Dakota says some very loud motorcycles that come up. Yeah, right. Motorcycles can be ear-splittingly loud. Andrew Nelson says, the boss said I have to go. Good night. Well, appreciate you, man. Thanks for stopping in. Drag Pack Merc says, sure, they have a reason. More revenue. 25 years of annual taxes on your car purchase is not enough for them. Well, I agree with that. One thing I resent about the people making all the policy for what is a classic car, for example, I've been insured with State Farm for 30 years. I asked my insurance agent, I said, tell me the specifics of having an antique car insurance policy for a 69 Plymouth Roadrunner. And the woman who works there, who's been there for as long as I have, it's the sister of the owner, she says, oh, it has to, be a legitimate classic. I said, well, 69 Roadrunner's legitimate classic as you get. I mean, really it is. I mean, I could make a case if there were 10 cars to be in the Automotive Hall of Fame, that could be one of them, right? I showed her a picture. She said, oh, no, they'll never insure that. I said, why? Oh, it's got to be painted and fixed up. I said, what does that have to do with anything? There's a lot of original green paint on that. Oh, no. But see, you have people making policy with really stupid ideas like that just don't get it. And they only want to insure the white New Balance tennis shoe wearing guys sitting in the mesh chairs. And that's all they care. They don't understand. They just don't understand that there are people who have worthy classics, real classics. And my car is more classic than his because that guy has all these Chinese parts all over it. So his car is only half American anyway. Mine has way more original parts. But anyway, I digress. Mexican Specs, and I bet your agent didn't know the rules for that policy. Oh, probably. But they don't care. I mean, they don't care. You're probably right. She probably made it up as it went and just said that wouldn't work or whatever. In Virginia, you can have uninsured motorists. You pay $400 a year, and you don't have to have insurance in Virginia. I've never done that. Terrifying prospect of being liable for a wreck, but technically, I don't have to have insurance. Colleen says, like the NHRA mandating paint. I have no idea what that has. I guess somebody cried to the sanctioning body about getting beat by a car in primer, and it hurt his little feelings. So he had to make sure to try to keep that guy from beating him again by making him have to pony up for a paint job. Ridiculous. Paint should have nothing to do with your car getting insured, sanctioned, tech, it should have anything to do with any of that. Yeah, raining slant six with a chance of cannonballs. They let motorcycles be left. I don't know about that because it's just ear splitting. Those bikes, it's ear splitting, and it just seems like there's no limit to it. They don't care. I see what you're saying, but I bet it has more to do with what the spectators want to look at. I don't know about that. I would disagree with that. I think it might surprise you. Because if you look at a class like Pro Stock where all of the cars look exactly the same, nobody really cares. Car inspections of the HOA of cars, agreed. Allen's Cars and Stuff said check JC Taylor Insurance, stated value policy, just over $200 a year for 2 cars. Sounds interesting. Blake is saying red paint, higher insurance. At least it was like that. Red paint is. I was reading something that said that red paint is actually more expensive to produce. In addition to all the things that we've heard about red paint, cars being more likely to be pulled over, et cetera, et cetera. If you live in a state with inspections, get approved to be an inspection shop. No thanks. You're basically given a blank check for the state police to be at your place and shaking you down anytime they want. No thanks. Mexican specs has huge restrictions on that class of car insurance policy. Yeah, there. I just asked. I probably figured it wasn't going to be worthwhile at all, but I did ask. Yeah, I kind of want to just tag the Roadrunner to drive it daily. We'll see. The red for my 70 Charger is over 1,000 a gallon. Yeah, right. Yeah, there's something in the pigment for red where they have to mine it that makes it cost more money. I've been reading about that. I thought it was interesting. Yeah, the HOA. Boy, they would love the Roadrunner. Yeah, heat magnet, wouldn't it? Unfinished projects at all barns used to be painted red because it was the cheapest paint. Yeah, I've heard that. No longer. Nothing is cheap. Nothing. Got $50 worth of bolts today. It's insane what hardware costs today. ridiculous what hardware costs today. Rapid Transit Garage is saying there was a shortage of blue not that long ago. I didn't know that. Greg McDonald's saying if he was near an HOA, both mufflers would come off. Yeah, one thing I don't like about that is I don't want them, nosing into when I'm coming and going. I don't ever want to live. I'm in town now and don't like it. Would love to be out of town. Dizzy has 6 quarts of Mopar 79 Crystal Red. I would sell or trade. Man, so there's becoming a market like this for red paint. Mexican Specs says, I'm glad where I am, things are much cheaper, even the paint. True. That's because Mexico doesn't hammer people to death with all of this EPA regulatory stuff that drives up the cost of paint. Wear your respirator, do your things like you're supposed to do, but when you buy paint, a big part of what you're paying for is regulations on the paint. Yeah, Joe's testing tune got rained out. Backwoods Custom Crap can make you the paint. Cool. What I want to do is calling our friend Joe here and helping teach me some stuff and get the Dart Sport painted. I would love that. I think what I want to do is the mid 90s paint job that it had, which was a black front end with the really heavy metal flake teal green, like an outboard motorboat on the back. Yeah, it's not just the gas, it's the extra charges. Paint's even worse. Yeah, batteries, same thing. Right. Blake says it's rainy there, but he didn't get to do much other than give Mr. Cope my credit card number. That must mean Blake's got goodies en route. Drag Pack Burke says it sounds very 90s. Yes, it is. Well, I want the car to look like it did when it raced, and it had 3 paint schemes. It had a yellow paint scheme, it had a black and green paint scheme, and then it had this black and red that was really pitiful, real low quality paint, unfortunately. But I'd like to put it back like it was. That said, it's going to be done in that 80s style, the Krager SSs and all of that. But 38 POS Racing says, I'm still buying batteries for $60. Let me tell you the best deal on batteries I have found anywhere. So the interstate battery warehouses can be hit and miss. The one that we have here, the prices are so-so. I was visiting the one in Buford, Georgia, when I was down there last year, and I got a Group 27 battery that looked new. It was one of their blemish black, plain black batteries. I couldn't find a thing wrong with it. It looked new, okay? The plates looked flawless and so everything. I paid $31 for it. $31 for a Group 27 battery that looks new. That battery would be $200 at a parts store, I'm sure, maybe more. I'm telling you, everything is insanely expensive. I got a drill bit today. I had to get a 15/64 drill bit today. It was $16 for a drill bit. I needed that weird size. And it didn't even stay sharp any time at all. I thought, well, at least it's new. It'll be good and sharp. No, not at all. I didn't get 3 or 4 holes drilled with it. I mean, I try not to get it hot. I lubricate the drill bit, everything. Center punch. It's terrible. I had, of course, I've taken to a bench grinder. I know how to sharpen a bit to get it actually sharp, but I shouldn't have to do that on a new bit. Danny Boyd says Menards has good deals. I have never been in a Menards in my life. I know they're popular a lot of places. We don't have them in this part of the country. Air conditioning will start using propane shortly. Ugh, kind of frightening. Raining slant 6 with a chance of cannonball says the more conscious they get over the VOCs and carcinogens in paints, the more they need to spec new, more expensive ingredients to save factory and body shop folks' health. Well, there's a part of that that certainly is true. On the other hand, you have the guys painting without respirators, so you gotta find a happy medium there and get everybody doing their part. But I agree with that. For that size, I would just use a hole saw. I mean, that's a tiny hole saw. Man, that's a tiny hole saw. 15/64. Joe says, I hear Menard sells a nice set of bits. Maybe. I've never been in one. I have no idea. First responder says the low speed drills last forever. Yeah, I have some good ones, man. A good steel last a really long time. I agree with that. Rob's Rodden Street car says 473 might go tonight. Well, you decide. I I think I think a good time to do will be an off hour live, like on a Sunday or something. But whatever you think, man. Bear Roses, I can't remember the name like Mummy Brown, and now it's illegal because it was made from actual ground up dead people. I lost probably 10 minutes off the end of my life for having read that. Thank you, Barrows. I appreciate that. I think I saw Ed's machine floating through. There we go. Yep. Bad trees, as we call it, May nerds. I don't know. I've only seen one from the highway, never been in one in my life. Although we have Rural King here. Not everybody does. It's pretty cool. Brian English says 4 a.m. comes early. All right, man. Have a good evening. Thanks for joining us. Joe has a video going up after the live. He weighed the 508 stroker RB big block Mopar and compared it to my 406B engine in the 408 stroker small block. It might break the internet. Well, we need to see that. So go check out Joe's video. He weighed 2 engines. That's all you need to know. Unfinished project tried using a drill bit the other night and it literally bent in half. Yikes. Iceman 2K10 says, I like my Rural King, can't beat it on chemicals, brake, clean coolant. Let me tell you, Rural King is legit when you're buying like engine oil and filters. Best prices anywhere. They beat Walmart on selection and price on engine oil. Danny Boyd says, the Europeans pronounce it. Okay, that's enough. I don't care how the Europeans pronounce much anything. Phil Landry's in here. Phil Landry's closing in on his 500. People were talking about you earlier, talking about that supercharged flathead Fox body. I was talking about the, I think it's Model A that you have. Cool stuff, man. Farm and Fleet. We don't have that here. Yeah, I like Rural King. Rural King is kind of like all the cool stuff Walmart has, but without all the stuff that's not cool, and then more of the cool stuff. Becky Robertson says Menards in Wyoming is the closest. Yeah, I've never been to Wyoming either. So Raining Slant 6 with a chance of cannonball says it affects us home and pro restorers when we detail or sand either factory original or custom paint jobs. It's the reason why most factories switch to water based paint. Yeah, we just want good paint. I know that. .38 POS Racing says we have Orschland's Farm and Home. Same thing, maybe related to. I've never even heard of that. Maybe it's cool. I don't know. I like checking out different places when I travel that we don't have here. I think it's neat. Rapid Transit Garage says all of those ideas came from Wisconsin. Okay, cool. Danny Boyd says my local Ace Hardware used to be a concert venue, and Jimi Hendrix played there. Okay, that's wild. There's actually a big concert hall a couple counties over from here. It's an old International Harvester dealership, and they call it the Harvester, but it's a concert hall. I thought that was pretty interesting. Becky says, stopping in our way to the University of Oregon Mother's Day powwow. See ya. Cool. Have a good time. Dean Stevenson is telling One Eyed Cat to relax and chill. Okay. Don's pretty chill. Mike Iben, the torque converter whisperer, is in the house. No rush at all, Mike, but you got the 8-inch converter parts in, or where are we with that? No rush at all. Just making sure to let you know that you're on the desk of my mind for doing that. I just make sure we got everything together. I'm really looking forward to it. LC Chapel said, hello, all you awesome people. Well, hello, LC Chapel. What does the LC stand for? So Don is working on his 440 for next year. Oh my goodness. So somehow Unfinished Project did this. This is the drill bit he bent. I have no idea. Did you get it that hot or what? Just Mopar Joe said Mike Iben's converter is the winningest converter in No Name Nationals history. That it is. This is true. Mike Iben said, send an email. Okay, cool. You sent it, I guess, to your supplier. Okay. I think that's cool. No rush, man. Just touching base with you, making sure that we're on track for whenever it works, and that's plenty soon enough for me. One year in a row so far. Well, tradition starts somewhere. Dizzy says, I've never seen that. Broken a bunch of bits, though. Yeah, no kidding. Was it a Warrior brand? That would make sense. Unfinished Project said it bent literally in the first 20 seconds. Well, okay. That's wild. So, were you using it on a press? Because that could never be done with a drill, I wouldn't think. Ed's Machine says, if I moved to Florida, what would I do? Well, what would you do, Ed? Indirect Connection is here. Jason, glad you're here, man. Danny Boyd's the drill bit walked out of the hole and folded. Yeah, I can't tell. He says drilling holes in the HF, I guess that's Harbor Freight carport frame so it doesn't fall apart. Have no idea. Colleen has bent drill bits with a hand drill. Whoa. Hang out on the beach and be our motor guy. That's what Lee's saying if you move there. Well, there you go. The beach is calling me, but the gravitational pull of my responsibilities is too strong. I wouldn't go to the beach right now anyway. Jethro's got a looks like he hurt his leg somehow yesterday. He's keeping his weight off his foot. He's got to be all good and healed up to enjoy the beach. Unfinished Project doesn't have any self tapper, so was pre drilling the holes. Traded one pot of money for another. Jody Pearson's in the house, says hello. Cool. Mohawk 62. When I saw that M62, I thought MN62, which is Mopar Nut 62, not to be confused with MM78. We have some people who go by their acronyms. Joe, what are you getting at here? Joe has a mess of transmission fluid going on. Jethro used water as a flotation device to go anyway. Blake is recommending Dad if he wants to cruise for chicks, South Beach is your place. Stay away from the east side of the Keys, though. Yeah, there's probably, I could imagine there's probably a good reason for that. Joe murdered a 727 already. I don't know. I don't know. Joe says someday he'll have a mimosa with Lee and Dean while the Bigfoot runs in the background. Reminds me I need to do that Mopar roll call soon. You heard it here. Yeah, I already know of one roll call in the works for No Name Nationals. Looks like Joe wants to do a second annual Mopar roll call. Unfinished Project believes there was a tear in the space time continuum. Okay. If anybody can make that happen, it would be an unfinished project. Blake and Ed are pushing buttons, and Joe is laughing about it. This is great. It's a good time with all you people. Yeah, we got Mopars at Farmington tomorrow. Got a big car show in my hometown tomorrow. I think I'm just going to stay here and work in the shop because I'm just that boring. Probably mow the lawn like Hank Hill. Dean Stevenson says a good answer, right down the middle. Let me tell you, when you're always in the middle, you get hit by the bus. Usually the right answer is not in the middle. Usually it's on one side or the other. 38 POS Racing says, what model transmission was that? That will be in the 97 Dodge van I'm chopping up. That would be probably a 46 RE, would be my guess. Is it an overdrive? Does it have this giant section between the case and the tail housing extension? I actually am looking for a parts van, but I'm looking for a B200 250 that has a 9 1/4 with the 5 lug axles. And then I want to do a 46 RH 518 transmission drive shaft. Blake says, family in from out of state. Have a good weekend. We'll see you, Blake. Have a good time with family. Just Mopar Joe saying Bigfoot tastes like chicken, I heard. Be a good one for Bigfoot Mark to walk in on there. The Jack Pine Savage. Joe says later Big Block Blake. One-Eyed Cat says, don't say Mo, my dandelions are a foot tall and still growing. Man, this is 1 year I've got my mowing on track. Man, it really fought me, though. I started up my mower for the first mow of the year, had a rod knock in it. I'm like, great. I'd just done all the rest of the service. So then I had backup mower, had to do tire tubes and a full deck service, replace a deck cable, blades, had to do a lot of overdue maintenance. I rebuilt the carburetor, and but I got it together. So backup's Cub Cadet, and it's running great. First Responder Garage wonders if the 5 lug and 6 lug are the same spline axle. They're all offset 3 inches. I believe they are, but the 6 lug is not what I need because the vans went from 5 truck pattern 5 to 8. This is in a van. The van housing is offset 3 inches to the passenger side. So I want a van housing, a 392 gear, and a truck 5 lug pattern. Love to find that combo. That's what I want for the van. It has a 294 gear 8 1/4 in it now. Sounds fine. In fact, there's nothing wrong with the drivetrain in the van at all. It runs great. Makes me not want to do anything. But I need it to be a good tow rig. So I want to do a 392 gear with the 518. Mexican Spec says you're not asking for much. I don't think so. All kinds of vans had that rear. All kinds of them. All kinds of them. I thought about doing an 8 3/4 rear in the van. No reason not to. The only thing is I would have to have Uh, I'd do something different for axles. That's the problem. Because the trucks that had an 8 3/4 had a 4.5 inch pattern. Well, first responder, my deal is I want to keep the factory original wheels that came on the van. It's got those aluminum turbine looking wheels that were basically like a Vector with more spokes from the factory, and I want to keep those. So that if it wasn't for that, I could do like an 8 lug, whatever. But I want to keep those wheels, and the 9 1/4 I know will let me do that. There's things I don't like about the 9 1/4, but they are really beefy. Yeah, Danny Boy likes those wheels exactly. They're good looking wheels. They just I can't do like a 3/4 ton or 1 ton rear for that reason. I want to keep. Yeah, it's a good looking wheel. Exactly. I thought so. Here's the wheel on the van. Came from the factory with General White Letter tires, those wheels, obviously good hardware kit. And now they just look trashy, but there's no damage, no curb rash, they're straight. I want to glass beat them and bring them back to looking just like that. And get a hardware kit, it'll look great. Is the rear the same for trucks? No, unfortunately, it's not. The van has the housing offset 3 inches to the passenger side because the engine in the van is offset 3 inches to the passenger side. They did that for a passenger, or did that for driver's footroom. Yeah, they look great shined up. You wouldn't believe it's the same wheels. They'll look great. I want to put them in the glass bead cabin and make them look new again, and get a hardware kit and do the white letter tires just like it had. Yeah, it's like a Vector with more spokes, Danny Boyd, right? Unfinished projects said they have 8 on 6.5 to 5 by 4.5 a day. We're all right, but these are 5 by 5.5. They're nasty to clean. What I really think, um, I need to clear them somehow to keep them looking decent. I think. I don't know exactly, but I'm going to keep the factory wheels on it. Unfinished project is converting the other way. 8 on 6.5 on his 82 D150, but your D150 shouldn't be 5 on 4.5. That should be 5 on 5.5. That's a truck pattern on an 82 D150. Unless you're running an older front end and an older rear. Dean Stevenson says that's why right-hand drive conversions are not so easy on Dodges. Yeah, I can see that. Well, I think on an A body, your engine is offset 1 3/4 to the passenger side. On a van, it's 3 inches. Yeah, vans and yard shipping would be terrible. I don't think it's going to be hard to find that at all. I want to find a good buildable 518 core, and I want to make that. Yeah, just my part. Joe said I'll travel. Yeah, I'm not opposed to traveling. I really want to come down and make the Georgia A's trip work with Joe sometime. Trying to do that for a couple of years now. Steam is an excellent cleaner. Okay. Unfinished projects is I guarantee my 82 is 5 on 4.5. Yeah, I don't believe it would have been from the factory though. I don't think I think 81 and up. I thought everything had the 5 and on 5.5. 2-wheel drive and all. I thought 80 was the last year of the 5 on 4.5. Yeah, Unfinished Projects is having 80, 85, 88, 90, right. Rapid Transit said there's $150. Well, yeah, but that's also in Wisconsin. It is factory. Interesting. I think the hardest thing to drive is a right-hand drive is the shifter. Maybe. I know it runs backwards. I can't imagine. I would say on a scale for ambidextrous, I'm probably more than most. I could probably get the hang of it, but it would still be weird. The D series had a 4.5 inch pattern. The W had 5.5. I think I know the D series had a 5.5 at some point. So the D series kept it a little longer. Well, I'm looking to build a 518. That's what I want to do for towing. And I want to do a 392 rear from a van, a 9 1/4 that has the. And fun fact, the drive shaft is actually the same for an 8 1/4 and a 9 1/4. And that sounds weird, but they are. Tony's Hot Rod Garage had an 89 with 5.5. There's an 89 with 5.5 on the street up above me. I have D series that are 5.5. Yeah, I thought they all were. Well, 81 and up. There's the 6 bangers I've seen, 81 and up, are 5 on 5.5. Unfinished Projects truck is highly unusual. I'd love to know more about that. I have never seen an 82 Dodge truck 5 on 4.5 ever. Colleen likes to do the passenger shifting deal. Raining Slant 6 with a chance of cannonballs likes the metallic copper bronze on the turbine cars. Oh, I agree. That was really hot. I like that a lot. Copper has really grown on me. That I thought that was kind of an old man color when I was a kid, but done right, that copper color looks really good now. So Indirect Connection says he's seen it. An 83-ish slant 6 two-wheel drive, 5 on 4.5. He says his 85 D150 was 5 on 4.5 with the turbines. I've never seen turbines in 4.5 unless they were the Vectors with the 10 spokes. All of those turbine wheels I've seen with the 15 spokes, like, well, no, I have seen 4. Yeah, I have seen those, come to think of it. Interesting. Dragpack Merc drove a rented flat Fiat across southern England and Wales, shifting with my left hand. Weird at first, but you get pitch on pretty quick. Roundabouts are a challenge. Yeah, see, that's why that will be awful. Because I think those roundabouts are terrible. I can't imagine. Factory Dodge turbines. Yeah, right. Right. Like, I've seen them. I've seen those on the generally tribute cars, even though they have the incorrect number of spokes. I know of a Buick right-hand drive and right side shift. Yeah, interesting. That's neat. So Jason thinks 86 was the first year for 5.5 on all trucks. Could be. I mean, that's entirely possible. I know that 86 was the last year of the Slant 6, and 87 was the first year of the V6. And that would make sense, I guess, to make that change then. Well, he says for all. It doesn't mean it couldn't have started because I know I've seen him back to 81 with the 5 on 4.5. So was there an overlap? That makes sense. His 86 had the large pattern 2-wheel drive. Right. I've seen a lot of those. Very interesting. You guys should make videos about that. Make a short about it. That'd be neat. Ed's going to go turn off the wash jet at the shop. Okay. It's a good idea. I got to use Cope's, he calls it a cooker, some kind of wash cabinet that gets the water real nice and hot and uses sprayers. And it's nice. It's really nice. Put all your nasty parts in there, turn it on, let it do its thing. 20 minutes later, they come out looking new. Indirect Connection says could have been a mid-year change. I want to know now. I think it's interesting. I mean, really what I want to do is find a couple of Ramcharger wheels with that factory 15 by 8, 4.5-inch pattern that came on the 77 and 8 Ramchargers. Plain steel. That's what I'd like to find. Yeah, I don't know, Mexican Spec. That's an interesting one. I don't know. It'd be interesting to me. I mean, there are some things that just because they were an option, they're just very uncommon options. Like I have seen a slant 6 in a Charger, a 68 Charger. It's incredibly odd, but you could get it. Cope says, "Do I hear your dog snoring?" No, it's probably Lucas. First responder says they have different chemicals for the parts. Yeah, they do. Unfinished project. He used his truck tire on a trailer to get home. Yeah, I think that's a good reason to have that. Raining slant 6 with a chance of cannonball says Mopar should have kept the slant 6 and gone to TBI. I agree. Although the V6, there's nothing wrong with it. It's basically a shortened down 318, but I like the slant 6, and I think it had more promise to go into a new realm with fuel injection. I agree. Slant Daily Garage in the house. What's going on, Professor P? Yeah, Rapid Transit has a buddy that has a 69 slant 6 Charger with freedom 3. Yeah, it's highly unusual, but they exist. You could get it. Glad Professor P could stop in and say hi. We will sometime soon work on having a live stream with Professor P. Friday night social time with Professor P might be a lot of fun. Johnny Mopar's here. How's it going, man? Good to see you in here. You was a pretty good crowd earlier. Good crowd now. Junker Up has a video with a slant charger. Cool. Brian Beeler, the automotive round 'em up video magazine guy, is in the house. Ford 306s were great with the EFI. No reason to think slants wouldn't have been. Totally agree. Slant was a great engine. It had more potential beyond 1986 when they phased it out for the V6. Johnny Mopar says we're back to the countdown. Hey, man, the countdown never stopped, although we rolled out the orange paper with 265 this year, and we're down to 132. Just Mopar Joe. Johnny Mopar t-shirt challenge. I think that only works if you say it about 47 times. Levi's Backyard Performance says Dart Sport. Yeah. Slant Daily says, thanks everyone for the outpouring of support for Dallas and him. Yeah. This community is for real. You guys are good guys, and we do appreciate you. Unfinished Project says the old F-150s at work have EF5 300s and get abysmal fuel mileage. All 300s get abysmal fuel mileage from what I've seen. Speak of Slant Sixes 3 times and Slant Daily appears. It happened, didn't it? We were talking about EFI on a Slant Six, and Professor P appears. His ears must have been burning. Ha! I just wanted to beat Unfinished Project 2 at the Zadar Sport. Just the way it works. Oh, Professor P, since you're in here, I should show this. I don't know if Professor P has seen this. Came in a case like this, for real. But William, the defending burnout competition champion, has made this topper for the trophy from what was left of his tires. And this will be the trophy topper for the second annual No Name Nationals burnout competition, which William wants to win back. He wants to defend his title. But that is really cool. It's all in epoxy. And yeah, whomever wins the burnout competition of the second annual AHRA No Name Nationals will win this on a trophy. What other sanctioning body does that? Came in this case, 2 of them. William is first class. Look at that. I speak of William and he appears. I just showed the trophy topper. Look at that. Charger 383 Mopar. Yes, Slant Daily. We're going to come up with the trophies list here real soon, but lots of people like to make their own awards for different things. And it's cool. So, Just Mopar Joe is asking Slant Daily, will the Cookie Monster eat fish this year? Professor P, will you pay the bounty to yourself if you wind up taking out Joe? Cultured Redneck Garage, Kyle can't stay long but wants to stop in and say hi. Loving the lives as usual. Hey, man, glad you're here. Always good to see you. One Eyed Cat says, who's going live after I get done? I'm wrapping up here in a few minutes. And Tony from Tony's Hot Rod Garage is going to go live with JB's Little Shop. They're having social live here in 6 minutes. And I'm going to close down and go over there. Slant Daily Garage says, I'm not doing the bracket, only the 28, 10, 5. Okay. Understandable. You know, it's funny. There's a lot of people that say, oh, man, you should add this and this and this and add this to No Name Nationals. Man, you'd be surprised how consumed you can be with what we already have on the docket. And it is a full slate doing a lot of activities. 28-10-5 will give Slant Daily all he wants probably for Saturday, taking care of the car, and if he wants to do call outs or whatever for Friday, whatever he wants to do. Joe says he'll be in 28-10-5. Levi's Backyard Performances. What about a sponsor for the best light? I will say the Red Light Ricky Award is already hanging out there for the worst red light. Mexican Spec is asking Dean Stevenson, do you want to ask them how to do it for Mexico? We have international trade going on from Mexico to Australia or vice versa, or New Zealand rather, on this channel. International business going on, and America is not even one end of it. Or the United States anyway. How cool is that? Dean Stevenson's got all kinds of weird stuff going on with his wheels. Cope Racing Transmission's got a beach umbrella. Yes, sir. As I said earlier, the beach is calling me, but the gravitational pull of responsibilities is too strong. That's cool. I like that you guys can all collaborate and get things done like that. That's neat. That's what the community is all about. We have such a strong community here. People are really kind to each other, and I really like that. Raining Slant 6 is out. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, man, I thrashed all day working on my shop for a change. Um, really, really thrashed and getting a lot done. NSB Custom Cars says we'll hold it down for you down here. Cool. I hope to be in the Sunshine State before too long. You never know. You never know when I'm going to come down and see you guys. It could happen. And I'll give another quick reminder just in case. Tony's Hot Rod Garage and JB's Little Shop will be going live here in 2 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and you guys have any last minute anything that you want there, and go ahead and put it out. Yep, Jason's going to jump. But yeah, go ahead and we're going to run over there, and those guys are having a live, hanging out tonight, wind down the weekend with a nice social live over there. Go see those guys. Last live they did, they conquered all of the ills of the transfer case for JB's truck, his Blazer rather. Unfinished Project says take the car train to Florida. Yep. Cope saying later, yeah. So they got a live going over here in 1 minute. I'm going to go ahead and shut down. Thank all you guys for coming out. Been a lot of fun tonight. Been a busy day. And yeah. Got my press all assembled. Last thing I got to do is put some springs on it, and it'll be done. And you'll love the pins that I put on the bed. I had to make something for that. You'll love that. But all right, with that, thank you guys for coming out. See you next week, if not sooner. Thank you guys.